大家好. Good afternoon, Taipei. It's always a pleasure to be here in Taipei, and it's a pleasure in particular to be here today to be launching our latest technology, the Dyson Airwrap styler. Now, we've been all over the world over the last few weeks. 2 weeks ago, we launched the product in New York, and since then, we've never really looked back. We've been on a world tour, and I'm really, really pleased that today we're bringing it to Taiwan, and I hope that when you get your hands on it, you're equally as excited as the bloggers and the media so far that have been leaving positive reviews globally. So we've got a bit of a show on for you today. We're going to be joined by Dyson engineer and our stylist ambassador, John Raymond. I'm going to let them do the talking when it comes to the technology and the styling. They know much more about the product than I. So sit back, enjoy the show, and I hope you enjoy the product. Thank you very much.
Hello and welcome. My name's Ella Brimelow and I work at Dyson as a fluid dynamics engineer. I was part of the engineering team that worked on the product that I'm here to talk about today. At Dyson, we're obsessed with airflow. Over the past 25 years, we've been manipulating airflow and developing new ways to embed it in our technology. It all began with the bagless vacuum cleaner. And today, the airflow speeds inside our latest vacuum cleaner technology can reach up to 190 kilometers an hour, generating 79,000 G-force. This separates microscopic particles from the airflow. Our airblade hand dryers use air knife technology to scrape water off the hands fast and hygienically. Our purifying fans heat and cool your homes, and they remove particles from the air as small as 0.1 micron in diameter. Our latest category, the Dyson Supersonic Hairdryer, uses powerful and precise airflow for more controlled styling. And it's our obsession with aerodynamics that allows these products to be so creative and innovative. The technology that I'm here to talk about today is no exception. Introducing the Dyson Airwrap. The hot air styling tool which curls, waves, smooths and dries without using extreme heat. I'm going to give you a little bit of a demonstration of this product working today. I've just created a beautiful natural curl, but without using extreme heat. So where did the idea for this product come from? It came from a desire to harness a phenomenon from fluid dynamics, which is known as the Coanda effect. What is the Coanda effect? So when a fast-moving jet of air travels along by a nearby surface, the jet of air can attach to that surface, and it will follow along the surface, even if it then curves away from the original direction. This is what we use in the Dyson Airwrap. We have 6 slots along the length of the barrel, and out of each of these slots, high-velocity air is ejected. Due to the Coanda effect, the air attaches to the surface of the barrel and it curls around, curling your hair with it. So we've harnessed the Coanda effect. We've harnessed it in this styling attachment and in multiple attachments to allow a variety of hairstyles. Using our knowledge of hair science, we've also created tools that allow you to style a variety of different hair types from all around the world. How does the product work? The airflow enters the product on this side through the double mesh filter, and it flows along over the electronics board, cooling the electronics components. It then passes through the V9 digital motor, which propels the air forward and out through the heater into the styling attachment, where it exits through these 6 slots. So let's talk a bit about the V9 motor, because this is the technology that allows our product to perform better and differently. It sits in the handle of the product, and it can spin up to 110,000 revolutions per minute. This fast speed allows the motor to be small, lightweight, and powerful. It's designed and manufactured entirely in-house in Dyson, on automated processing lines. A V9 motor is created every 2.3 seconds in these clean isolation rooms, free from human hands and contaminants. The reason that no people are involved in this process is the high precision that each of these parts has to be put together with. There's only 75 microns room for error. This is approximately the width of one human hair. Since the development of the Dyson Supersonic, we've become experts in hair science, and we now have multiple state-of-the-art laboratories. These use scanning electron microscopes and light chambers to look at the structure of hair in microscopic detail. Our testing in the lab shows that when hair is exposed to extreme heat, hair can become heat damaged, and damaged hair looks dull and lifeless, like the hair on the left here. Healthy hair is much shinier, as it's not been damaged by excessive heat. To tell you a bit about how this happens, I'm going to explain about the structure of the hair. The inside part of the hair is called the cortex, and this is the strong, rope-like part of the hair that gives it its structure and its strength. On the outside of the cortex, there are many cuticles, which sit like tiles on a roof and protect the inside part of the hair from heat damage. Hair strands also contain hydrogen bonds, and these are what give hair its shape and allows us to style hair. The hydrogen bonds are broken down when you wet hair or wash your hair. The problem with applying extreme heat to hair is that the moisture can burst out of the cortex, and this damages the surface of the hair. Damaged surface of the hair means that it's not going to look as shiny, because undamaged hair, all the light reflects in the same direction, giving off that shine, whereas damaged hair has a rough surface, and the rough surface disperses the light in different directions, and you don't get that same shine. Damaged hair is also less strong than undamaged hair, and it'll take less force to break hair that's been exposed to extreme heat. Damaged hair is also more porous. By this, I mean it absorbs moisture more easily. And when hair absorbs moisture, it means that style drops out and hair might look frizzy. Finally, heat damage can affect the colour of hair, and for dyed hair can mean that the colour fades more quickly. So what has Dyson done to solve these problems? The Dyson Airwrap uses intelligent heat control. There's a thermistor which sits up here in the air exit, and this is monitoring the temperature of the air up to 40 times a second. This information is fed back down to the electronics, which can control the temperature of the product, making sure that your hair is never exposed to extreme heat. We've not just been becoming experts in the science of hair and hair damage, we've also been becoming experts in the science of styling hair. So there are two different ways to create style in hair without using chemical treatments. The first one is styling dry to dry. This is using straighteners or curling ones. The problem with this is the hair's dry, so those hydrogen bonds are already in place, and there has to be extreme temperature in order to get that style locked into the hair. The second example is wet to dry. Now, because we're styling wet hair and those hydrogen bonds are forming, we don't need to go to the same extreme temperatures in order to get the same style retention. And the Airwrap is an example of this. I'm going to give a little bit of a demonstration on myself of how to use the Airwrap styler. So, as the Airwrap is designed to style wet to dry hair, you want to start with your hair slightly damp. Hold the hair approximately 10 centimeters from the end. So I left the product on for about 10 seconds. Depending on your hair type, it might need to be 8 to 12. Then I can use the cool shot to set the style in place. I've just demonstrated with this 30mm barrel here. This is good for creating tight curls or for thinner, finer hair. But we've also created a 40mm barrel. This can be used to create looser waves and is good for thicker hair. Each barrel actually comes in two parts. One's clockwise, one's anti-clockwise, so that you can make symmetrical curls on either side of the head. But we didn't stop there. Having already created such useful products, we wanted to make sure it had the most versatility possible. So we've created the smoothing brushes. There's two different types, one with soft bristles and one with firm bristles for different hair types. To give the maximum alignment of hair, you always want the airflow going in the same direction as the hair. And because of this, there's a switching mechanism inside the brush which redirects the airflow based on the tension in the hair. I'll just demonstrate. We've also created the round brush. This is good for creating a lot of volume in particularly fine hair and can be used to style fringes. And last but not least, we've created the pre-styling dryer. This can be used to get wet hair down to damp in order to then use the rest of the styling attachments. So it's been a pleasure talking to you all today about this product, but I think it's time to see it in action. So please welcome to the stage international stylist from the US, John Raymond.
Hello Taipei, how are you? Good. I know that there's some translation, so I will try to speak clearly and well, and I will try to be somewhat funny, but not too funny. Perfect. Okay. So I'm very excited to be here. I've been on tour with Dyson over the last month, launching the Airwrap in different cities, and I'm very excited to be here in Taipei talking to you about the styles, the trends, and how this all translates to hair. So I do fashion shows. I lead in key shows in New York, Milan, Paris, and London. I've worked all over the world doing hair, and Dyson has changed the game for professionals as well as consumers for styling. The supersonic has taken over everywhere. Anytime I look on social media and I see anybody styling hair, it's with the supersonic. And even backstage at Fashion Week, if I ever saw somebody not using a supersonic, it was kind of an odd thing, like seeing somebody use a BlackBerry. It just didn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to use anything else other than a supersonic. And so as Dyson has really explored this personal care space of hair and fashion and styling, one of the things they also are trying to understand is not just professional work, but also consumer styling. So I own 10 salons in the US and New York and LA and San Francisco and Chicago, all around. And one of the biggest challenges our clients have is they come into the salon, they love when they leave, and then they can't recreate the style, they struggle. And that has been tried and true for a long time. YouTube has become popular because hairdressers don't know how to educate our clients on how to do their hair, and so these crazy people sit in their bathrooms doing crazy things to their hair. And so one of the things that Dyson has discovered is we can make hairstyling easier and also less damaging. And so I'm very excited to talk to you about how the Airwrap works, some of the great benefits about it, and how it actually translates to my clients not just looking great one day every 2 months, but actually every day that they pick up the Airwrap. So I'm going to bring my first model up on stage. Great. And actually, can you guys hold for just 1 sec? Oh, maybe not? All right, they'll keep going. That's all right. The translation is a pause. We can go back to that slide. It's okay. Yeah, the one before that. Great. So before I do any styling, I want to talk to you a little bit about just hair. And one of the things that I love about Dyson is really creating a clear message about hair, how hair operates and what it does and what it doesn't do. And so here behind me, you can see a beautiful chart that has two things. It has texture and it has shape. And a lot of times, product companies, styling product companies, they get really stuck on patterns of hair. And what I mean by that is they talk about straight, wavy, curly, or coily hair. And while that's important, one of the things we sometimes forget is texture. And texture is the fabric of the hair, how the hair feels in your hands. And so as you look over here, you'll see this thing called fine, medium, or coarse, or small, medium, and large. And what that essentially means is that we're not just discussing patterns of hair, because patterns is about kind of how we style it and how we choose to work with the hair, but actually the texture is most important. And because we understand texture to be very important, we understand solutions to that. So what we have is there's sort of two types of people in the world. There's either people with flat, limp hair that wants it bigger and fuller, or there's people with full hair that want it smaller. And because we understand that, we have a product offering that's very clear. And what we have is, we can go to that next slide. Maybe not. Oh, there it is, perfect. So what we have is we have a very clear understanding of problems and then solutions. And so either your hair is big and you want to smooth and control it and soften it up and straighten it, or you have flat hair and it's limp and you want to create volume and shape. And then there's, of course, people who want it all. They want to be able to do all of the things that are available to them. And so let's talk about this beautiful model's hair. We styled it using the classic curl. And so here you can see this really beautiful full curl. Now, her hair is actually quite soft and flat and limp. And so to put body into it and give it lots of movement is really the goal here. And so what I'm going to do is, and I know Ella was talking about working from the hair damp to dry, which is totally reasonable, and this hair was all set in that way. But what we're going to do is we're just going to work with it dry so we can kind of see how the Airwrap responds also on dry hair. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a section of hair, I'm going to turn on the Airwrap, and I'm just going to allow the Airwrap to wrap the hair around the barrel And then I'm just going to roll that, allow it to roll up. And you'll notice, as I rolled it up, I didn't roll the actual air wrap. The air wrap rolled itself. And the reason why that works is because the commando effect is pushing that airflow around. So what it does is it eliminates friction from the hair. And then also I'm keeping that hair really fluffy. Now after I set it with some heat, I'm going to give it a little bit of a cool shock to help it set. And then I'll turn it off. And I have this beautiful, set, fluffy curl. Now, this style is impossible to replicate using anything else. I can't get this with a curling iron, because if I use a curling iron, the hair will shrink down, get small, and also, I'll be damaging the hair. And then I can't get this from a round brush, because there's no way I can set as well, because I'm pulling, and the friction is creating a lot of tension and causing a lot of damage to the hair. But more important than that I can do it, it's important that she also can do it. So I'm going to give her the air wrap, and she's going to take her hair, and we'll see how she does. And then she'll let that roll itself up. We'll go a little closer to the root. There we go, perfect. And then give it a cool shot. And then turn it off. And there we have the beautiful set. I'm going to let her finish and refine all of the rest of her hair, and then we'll come back and talk about styling this beautiful classic curl. And in the meantime, I'm going to invite my next model up on stage. Great. So this classic curl is definitely becoming more relevant on the runway. This season in Fashion Week, we saw this bigger, fuller, more romantic curls. However, the beach wave is still a very relevant style for everybody. And I love this finished look without it being overdone. And again, to create this, if I wanted to use a curling iron, I'd be damaging your hair, but also I can press that hair down because that heat is so intense when I'm setting it. So what I love about this is, here is as Ella was talking about, the 40 millimeter. I could use this barrel to set, but I want this wave to be a little stronger, so I'm going to go into the 30 mil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this very similar as I would a wand. So I'm going to take my section of hair. I'm going to tilt her head a little bit. She's very tall. And I'm very short. And I'm going to take this and I'm just going to wrap it around the barrel. Very similar as I would with a curling iron or a wand. Now I'm going to leave the ends out because I don't want those ends to be too straight or too curled. And then once it's set and heated up, I'm going to give it a cool shot. And then turn it off, and the result is a really beautiful, full curl. Now, I can get the same curl pattern from a curling iron, but the problem would be is I'm damaging and compromising the hair. Now, again, more important than that I can do it, it's that she can do it. So I'm going to hand this to her and give her a section of hair. And you'll notice also what is impressive to me is she's not using a mirror. It becomes sort of a very natural, kind of organic process. And she can turn that on. I'm always here to give direction. Every purchase of the Airwrap, you'll have me standing next to you telling you what to do. So once it's heated up, we'll give it a cool shot. And then we can turn it off. Great. And let that go. And there we have a beautiful full wave. And I'll let her finish and refine her style. Until finally we have our last model. Come on down. Great. And as you can see from her before pictures, her hair is quite straight. It's a bit coarse, and it really wasn't very pliable. So to get her hair to actually do what we want, we're going to actually soften the hair up using a little bit of water. So I'm just going to spray just a little bit of water to soften up the hair, get it so that it's pliable, breaking those hydrogen bonds that happen with either intense heat or with water. And then we have this beautiful flat brush. Now, the beautiful thing about this is historically a brush like this with an attachment, the airflow goes all over the place. With this brush, because of the way that it's been designed with the Coander effect, is that the airflow goes in the direction that you're trying to actually blow dry, so the hair is in control and you're getting a better finished result. So here with the heat on and the high blow, I'm just going to go over top and smooth that out. And then I can come through here and then give it a nice little bend, which I think is very much on trend here. But more than me being able to do it, she needs to be able to do it. So we're going to take a moment and watch her go through the process. Taking a section of hair, going on top of it, smoothing it out nice and slow. And again, there won't be any heat damage as a result to the work that we're doing. And the beautiful thing also is because we're not using a flat iron, the hair is going to be fuller, but still quite straight and smooth. Great. And then she finishes and you get that beautiful bend. I'm going to give her a couple of minutes to finish and refine this while I come back to my classic curl. Great. So we're just going to take these clips out, that we're just holding her hair out of the way. And then one of the things that I love about this look is the fullness that it gets. And it has such a romantic finish to it. And one of the things I think that's happening, you know, I was in another market and they were asking about kind of party hair. You know, I love braids and styling and all kinds of stuff, but I think showing up with this really beautiful, glamorous curl is relevant, it's beautiful, and I think it's quite chic. So here's this beautiful, bouncy, full curl that I literally couldn't get using any other machine. And then we have this wonderful beach wave, which again, I always like to get my fingers in and move it around. And with a curling iron set like this, it would be quite stiff and damaged. Here, the hair is full, it's got lots of body movement, and it's very pliable, and I think looks very relevant. Until finally, we have this beautiful bevel, a great finish, all done by herself. Thank you so much, models. Thank you, guys. So Elle and I have given you lots of information about the new Airwrap, but more important than us talking to you, we want you to experience the technology, and we want you to experience the actual Airwrap. So we have styling stations. So I'm going to release you to go to the gallery and enjoy the conversations with the engineers, and then if you want to play with your hair, that's available to you. And I thank you so much for your attention, and thanks for coming to